What's up everyone, welcome back. My name is Oscar Yana, and in today's video, as you can see, I'm walking towards a good destination that I'll be telling you in the time sooner. But the main topic that I'll be talking today is transportation in Tanzania, as I've written in the topic. So most of the people actually telling you about the transportation in Tanzania, they won't tell you what I'm showing right now, the motorcycle. They won't show you the other buses that really transport people, but they'll mainly show you the BRT buses, which I'm also going to show you, and I'll tell you something more about it. So most of the things that they tell you is just the good side, but they don't tell you the bad side. They just hide it. I don't know why, for some reasons that they don't want to show. But today I want to be taking you through all the kind of transport that are available in Tanzania, and even the ones that you rarely see them, and where do you want to find them if you really wish to experience them wherever you're from. It's either you're Tanzanian or you're a foreigner, but I'll be showing you all of them and which one is best to use and which one is not best to use at this time, and I'll be explaining so much more about this thing. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, because today's video I'm going to be showing you a lot. As you can see, this is the BRT. So if you haven't known the BRT buses, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I'm sure some of you don't even know the abbreviation of BRT. So apart from that, I'll be also telling you the advantages and the disadvantages of using those kind of transport. So you be careful when you're trying to use the transport, and you understand why you're using it. So let's start with the food transport. A lot of people really use the food transport. Now I'm going to tell you the advantages, disadvantages, and also the best time to use it. So when it comes to the advantages of using the food transport, I think it's less expensive, it's less risky of accident comparing to the boda, that's a motorcycle, and it's more fun to experience new places if you really want to see how the environment looks like and interact with the locals. So if you want that enjoyment and that kind of fun, it's better use the food transport. And the disadvantages that you can get from the food transport, it's the risk of theft, especially when it's at night. Because I know people say like Tanzania is safe, but sincerely, yes, it's safe, but you also gotta be careful, because when you really put yourself into danger, don't think people will spare you. You're gonna lose your property, and if you're a foreigner for real, you don't wanna lose your passport here, because it's going to be hard and complicated. Though sometimes people become friendly, but you need to also be careful, because sometimes the same people who actually act as they are friendly, they might be the one who actually not even helping you, just trying to take advantage of you. I'm being sincerely open. And the other thing, it's not good when it's raining and it's too sunny. Like the other time when I was walking here, it was not much of a sunny and not much of a rainy, but the other times when it comes to rain and it's really getting wet everywhere, it's not a good environment that you wish to walk. You better look for another transport to use rather than just walking around, because it's wet and it's muddy. It's not good. And when it's sunny also, it's very bad, especially for those people who are actually white. I think you need to apply your oil, the one that you apply at the beach, so as you cannot get those oil burns. So I think that's the thing. And the best time to use it is when you have a lot of time to walk and you want to experience a lot. And also you can check if you have the time and the weather is allowing you. I think it's the best time for you to choose this, and especially if you're actually having those walk maybe from your hotel and you want to go just and visit the outside and meet with the locals, or if you're going to the supermarket, just walk around and see, and just walk around, and trust me, you'll get local foods which are actually great. So those are the best things that you can get, and the disadvantages and the best time you can use with the food. I hope you guys may get something out of this, and until then, let's continue to the other transportation that actually will be the boda. So as you can see here, first I want to say bye, and let's wait for the footage. So I know a lot of people will complain when we talk about the motorcycle, and I've had those complain, and I'm going to include those complaints. Yes, the first thing I'll hear is the disadvantage from everyone trying to tell me the disadvantage. But let's take a look at the advantages first. The advantages of using motorcycle, aka boda, we call them here in Tanzania or even Kenya. I've heard of that. It's fast movement. Like seriously, if you want to move a place to a place and you want to go fast, you will use the boda, because literally, there's sometimes there is jam on the way, like the cars are like they can't move, especially the buses. You literally use the boda boda to move fast and quick, and you reach at the destination as fast as possible. Plus, if for example you guys are two, like the other place there I'll show you, like you and your other brother or your other sister, and you guys want to use the fastest transport at a low cost. Now when it comes to low cost, boda boda is one of the kind that you really don't want to waste, because it will actually consume you less price. Most of the places you only pay 1,000. I think 1,000 that's equivalent to, let me check right now, as this time I'm talking, the 1,000, that is actually equal to 0.43 US dollars. So literally that's a very, very low cost. That's the cheapest amount you could pay, and depending on the destination where you are among the regions of Tanzania, you're gonna pay much less price or even much more price, depending on the distance too. So literally the advantage is fast and low cost. You'll never regret it, I'm telling you, and I promise you this. But when it comes to the disadvantages also, yes, the disadvantages is also there, and that's what people talk about. That's the risk of accidents. Yeah, sincerely, I've been walking through the hospital and I've seen that there's a lot of accidents that are happening in Tanzania. According to the facts, is that it's almost like the 50% of the accidents happening in Tanzania, it's motorcycle accidents, and most of the times we blame the drivers. And it's not good during the rain season, because if you're actually having a motorcycle and it's rain season, literally you cannot drive around because you will not be able to cover yourself with something, and that's a bad thing. And the best time to use the motorcycle is when you want to move fast and you have less luggages, because if you have so many luggages, I think the motorcycle won't be the best for you. It's better you order something like a Bolt, and I'll explain later what is a Bolt, or we also call it a Uber. So literally right now, I think using a boda boda could be one of the best option if you are moving at a very high pace and you are going to use low price. But be careful because it's also risky. So thank you. Let's wait for the next footage and I'll explain more about the coming one. And I hope you guys are getting something, and be careful. So coming on the side of Bajaji, or some people don't really call it Bajaji, they use this matatu, if it's not mistaken. So it's actually called Bajaji. So on Bajaji, it's very short and clear that the advantages that you're going to get is comfortability, and with the price it's just moderate. You can complain about it. And the disadvantages is that it's not always available. Sometimes we go to places where you wish could have used the Bajaji and it's not available, unless otherwise you're in DaresSalaam and you have to use the Bajaji using a Bolt call, like it's an app whereby you order Bajaji or another vehicle to come and pick you up. And the best time for using this Bajaji is when you really have a lot of things and you literally need to transport them to a very long location, and you don't want to use the public transport, the big buses, because sometimes when you are literally moving and you have a lot of things and you want to move in a long distance, you really don't want to be disturbed by the people inside the buses. Especially these could look like the disadvantages. I don't want to talk about them on the disadvantages of the bus, but mainly on the Bajaj, it's also a good thing if you actually have friends and you guys want to move to different places using one transport, because you guys are moving, for example, in one place and you're going for travels, or you're going to just have fun in one place and meeting people. Or for example, some people used to collect each other from different locations, like they would move to one place, then they would collect another person, then they would go to another place and collect the other person. For example, here I was going to one of my trips and we collected one of my friends here. He's my cousin, and it was a really fun one, which I will not tell you exactly which place was I going. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, because there are a lot of adventures coming up on this channel and they're all in Tanzania, though I'll be posting also some of them which actually I had experience in China. So when you talk about Bajajis, I can't complain, and it's very rare to get an accident on Bajaji, because it actually contains three those cycles, those tires. So literally it's very stable, even though sometimes people could pack in until 4, 5, 6, and it's very stable. It is rarely you could find an accident. If you find an accident, maybe it was a bad luck, though they do happen also. So be careful. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful. You should always be careful when you're actually having any vehicle to pick you up. So yeah, and enjoy. So going to another transport, that is daladala. I know most of people really don't know this, and that is why I told you I'm going to show you some things that literally most of the people on the content creators don't really show you about. Now, what are the dadalas? Dadalas, these are the minibuses. I think Kenya called them matatu. I'm sorry, it was not bajaji. So they really are cheap. Like, yeah, they're really pretty cheap. Like, you could really travel somewhere with $0.02 US dollars. So it's really cheap. But the problem with these are they're really old, and the places that they travel to, it's really old places. As you can see, it's like villages. That's where they used to go, and most of the times they're not even allowed to be seen in DaresSalaam city. So I think most of you are familiar with DaresSalaam city, Arusha, so Mwanza, Zanzibar, but actually in DaresSalaam they have been prohibited. So maybe if you actually are you are in another place apart from DaresSalaam, you'll be able to see this. Though even if you're in the nearby province called Pwani in Tanzania, you'll be able to find this. Like this one here, it was one of them on my trips whereby I was going to Bagamoyo, and inside for real it is really old. As you can see, like the place inside, it's really old. Sorry for the footage that was shaky, but for real. And the other time it was raining, so like the inside part is really old, and like you really meet the locals inside there. So if you want to like go and see the locals and you want to talk to them, like if you are in a journey, don't use like a Bolt or use a private car. Don't do that, and it's better to use this kind of public transport. That's why you meet the locals, and you gotta be careful with the locals because sometimes not all are good. So when I will tell you the minibus, that's the dada, the advantage is very cheap, like pretty much cheap, like it's really cheap. When I say cheap, I really mean it. And the disadvantage that you're going to get on this one, it's too much of population, because sometimes when it's in the evening, and even though it's in the old places, a lot of people really like fight to get inside. I wish I could have shown you that, but I think it's gonna be in violence and it's gonna be inappropriate. So I think I would tell you only like the place, it's really good, and you could really use that. But the only thing is that it's at a risk of you having to be contaminated with all the people, like not being contaminated exactly, like meeting with all the people. And when you have that, a lot of people inside one car, there's also high risk of theft, so which is also not good, and it's gonna bring you to another problem. That's a disadvantage that is not too comfortable, because as you may see, if you guys are so many inside, that means you're not even happy anymore. And that thefty issue, though the thefty issue is not a big deal, sometimes depends on the kind of bus and where you're going to, because some of the people have actually had really had a good experience with these mini buses, so I can't complain. And it's also not that much bad. If it's actually as bad as it could get, it's whereby even sometimes they could get stuck. Now I'm not saying that you should be scared that they can get stuck, but sometimes they do get stuck. So if it's raining, like this time here, I was going in Bagamoyo when it was raining, and actually I was coming back from Bagamoyo, so it was very raining, and things could get very bad, and you are not going to like it, because sometimes these cars, they could get stuck somewhere, and you guys have to come outside, and so as they push the car. I thank God because it didn't happen to me when I was there. But in real sense, these buses are quite not that much bad, but they are at a very low cost. It's not bad. And the good thing is that when you get to experience these good moments when you're with these buses, that's the best moment that you want. So it's not a bad thing to try. So I think when you get a chance to try to go to the villages and the locals, just be sure to use these buses and enjoy the moment, because nothing lasts forever. We all have one time to live, and we have to cherish every time that we spend on this earth. And I'm happy that you guys are learning something out of this. So apart from that, we have this little bit of middle class buses. Now these are the kind of buses that you find in DaresSalaam. At least almost every city has these kind of buses. Now the good side of these buses is that these buses are a little bit of a comfortable compared to the mini buses, and the disadvantage is sometimes they could get really too population. And apart from that, in the evening, I think the risk of theft could kind of increase. I'm sorry if I'm being negative on my own country, but I'm just being, what should I call? I'm just being faithful to tell people of what's happening, because sometimes people could get robbed and they could lose their properties and they could start blaming that they were not told. So it's better to warn people, so as if anything happens, they already know that they were warned. So in case of in evening times and you're in Tanzania, yes, there's security, I can say that, but trust me, you shouldn't be alone, like walking alone in the whole streets. It's not like in Europe or in other countries where you can do that. But I believe in China I did once that, and it was okay. It was around 2 a.m. at night, but it was okay, and it was until 4. I walked alone. But in the evening in Tanzania, don't do that, and especially also in the afternoon, like as you can see right now. In the afternoon also, if you are climbing any buses, it could really get populated with a lot of people, and you need to also be careful, because some people really lose their properties at that time too. So you should be careful. Now, if you're lucky enough, you should actually get a seat properly, just like here I did, and you could sit. One thing I hate about this is actually staying near the door. When you stay near the door, there's one thing is that if there's a mother coming and she's having a baby, then you'll have to move. I really hate staying at the place near the door. I'm being sincere right now. Like, I really hate near doors and near that place there, because any person coming in, if is an elder than you, like if he's an elder or she's an elder than you, have to move out. I think that's all I have to say. But the best time to use is all the time that you have. Like, if you have no time to lose, you just want to move out from one place to another, I think it's better to use it. You have no complaint about this. So this is kind of fair one, and I can't complain, I can't say much about it. But I hope you enjoy your stay in Tanzania and have a good one. So finally, I think we have reached to what people have been waiting for, the BRT. Now, for those guys who don't know the meaning of BRT, BRT means bus rapid transport. B, bus, R, rapid, T, transport. I'm sure so many people don't know about that, but they've been seeing it everywhere. And I'm not being a bad person, but I'm just being honest. I think most of the Tanzanians really don't know the meaning of BRT. I should really find sometimes and ask them if they really know the meaning of BRT and interview them. Maybe some few 2-3 questions. I think that's gonna be a good idea. So what do the BRT help for, or what are the disadvantages and disadvantages, and what is the good time, you tell me? Okay, let's start with the advantages. On the advantages first, you could move fast, like pretty fast. For example, in DaresSalaam, all of them, they are available in DaresSalaam. By the way, let me clear something out. They are not available in another city. So if you're actually in Mwanza, in Zanzibar, in Arusha, in Bear, those big cities also that you actually have heard about them, or you've been there, maybe, it doesn't matter, they are not available. The BRT, they are only available in DaresSalaam. So pretty much you only have to use them. You'll be using them, or you'll be getting their services in DaresSalaam. Maybe they will actually expand to other places too. I've seen them, they've started going until Pwani. That's another province. That's a good thing. And though they're not moving that much further, but actually it's a good start, so we can't complain about that. And they're really modifying it. One thing I want to be honest is Tanzanians, really, they have, and actually not only Tanzania, everyone who's going to use the BRT, they have to stop misusing and destroying the seats and destroying the places, like destroying the machines. I don't know who does that, but I think we have to at least have some manners. I want to be open about this. Like, let's have some manners. You know, I don't even know, should I say, like in the beginning we used to use the BRT when you first get the ticket, because you have to use a different road. So when you enter into the BRT road and you're going to get a ticket. Now after getting that ticket, you literally have to scan. Now those machines of scanning, they're now spoiled. I don't understand. Was it we Tanzanian who spoiled it, or what happened exactly, or the machines stopped working? And I don't know why people are not even getting them better, because actually the problem, I think, starts with the Tanzanians. I think I want to spread this message to all the Tanzanians and everyone who's going to use the BRT buses. They should be careful, because just try to use them as the way they were given, and the instructions that you're given. Do not misuse them. Now let's get back to what people want to hear, and that is the advantages. The advantages, as I told you, it's fast. sincerely, I can't complain. The BRT is very fast because it's not using the same road as the other cars that are using. The BRT has actually been built like 10 years ago right now, if I'm not mistaken, if it's not 8. So they built a different road whereby the BRT could use its own road rather than the same road that the bus could have been using. So even though when it's a place whereby there is a high population of cars and they have been stopped due to the traffic light, to each side it will be just moving on because it has its own separate road. It doesn't mean it has a high road, no, it's just the same road but it has been separated. I think when you are in Tanzania you'll see that by yourself. So in case if you have a chance like to choose between a BRT road, a BRT and a minibus or a normal bus, and there is a way you can use the BRT bus, though there will be some disadvantages, but it's better you choose the BRT bus. You will never regret rather than choosing another kind of bus and later you'll be delayed if you're moving to one place to another, or if you're just trying to see what the BRT experience looks like. And yeah, that's it. So I think you should choose the BRT over the other buses. And the other thing I want to talk about is that the disadvantages. Now when it comes to the disadvantage of the BRT, the increase of theft is always there in the evening. I'm not complaining too much that Tanzania is not safe, but it is safe. You also should be careful with the properties. You cannot say that it's safe 100%, no, or it's not safe 100%. It's somehow safe, somehow not safe, because you shouldn't trust anyone. Just be careful with the properties and everything will be well. If you don't do that, I think you'll be getting your own trouble. And if you complain, I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you, but that's just the truth. And the other disadvantage is it's overcrowded. As you can see, there are a lot of Tanzanians and people who are not Tanzanian using the BRT. For real, it's actually too much. Like sometimes I think the machines delay and that's why we are being populated at the same area, but I think it's not fair. Like we are too much. Like as you can see here right now, there are some people who actually, instead of we scanning on that thing you have seen over there in front of the black one, we have to give them the ticket, they tear it off. And in the beginning we used to just pass the machine and the machine could scan. Now I don't understand. The Tanzanians have already called you out and I will call you out again. Please and please, what are you trying to do? Because you're destroying the machine, I should say, because what is happening is that the machines are actually not working. Who is the cause? We all don't know. So I hope maybe sometimes later, maybe they'll try to fix this and make things much more better, because moving at that place, though they'll be actually losing jobs on some people, but actually quite fair, and that's how the world works. Like you have to get something to lose something. Now the other thing is that I also wanted to show you this part whereby people really have to fight for these things, like because they're too much populated. Now as you can see, they're too much populated inside the car. Luckily I got a seat inside the car, and getting inside the car it's really another job. And if you have a kid, if you have a parent, it's okay, but if he's old or she's old, it's quite another problem. But if there is only like youth people and those people from the age of 35 or 45 and 50, somehow if they are really strong enough they could get inside. But actually the struggle is real when it comes to going inside that car, for real, inside the vehicle, not a car anymore. So it is really hard, because if people are populated at a certain place, people fight for those seats. People really fight. If I would have shown here right now, I think it's gonna be, my YouTube will be terminated again, because that video could have been like full of violence and I didn't want to show that. But for real, as you can see, these people inside here, the struggle was real getting inside. And I think everyone who has ever been to DaresSalaam, he or she knows that, and they really understand what I'm talking about, because who doesn't really know the struggle of getting inside the BRT? Like who? Unless otherwise you're not living in DaresSalaam or you have never been in DaresSalaam. Because if you have ever been to DaresSalaam, you literally understand the real struggle of being inside the BRT. I'm repeating again, a BRT. So the best thing and the best time for using a BRT, I think anytime, just like the other buses, anytime you have a chance, there's a way that you can use a BRT, just use it. like if the route is allowing, because the BRT doesn't really go everywhere in DaresSalaam. There are some special areas whereby the route is created for it to pass, as I told you, so they usually go there. Like if you really are not in a hurry, and because sometimes if you're in a hurry you'll miss the place and there's a long line you have to wait, so literally it's better use a motorcycle, even though it's risky. So if you are not in a hurry and you just want to use a safe transport, because literally since the BRTs have been made, we have had a good advantage that there is zero accident that has actually happened of the BRT, apart from the, I shouldn't call these accidents because it's just the bus has been stuck on water, then later it was moved out, so it is not really an accident because nobody even was injured, nothing really happened, nothing much compared to the other accidents. So we haven't had any accident on the BRTs. And the good thing, they also have their own stations, so literally when you go and you'll see they have the special stations, so it's easy for you to navigate and go and pay for the, what should I call, the ticket, and then you should go. Yeah, it's quite easy. I think if you can't do that, you can just ask anyone, he or she will assist you. Tanzanians are really friendly, and though you have to be careful too, because not all, but a large percent are friendly. And please for those guys who think they're not friendly, please let me know if you think you're not friendly, or if you have actually faced any difficulties on using the BRT. Let me know, because I think there is nobody who has ever faced that that difficult. I've been passing through videos who actually talked about the BRT. I've not seen negative comments about the BRT. Everyone is positive about it, and though I'm disappointed, and I'm disappointed for real on those people who are actually portraying the transport in Tanzania. They're not saying everything, they're just saying some of the things. That's why I decided to make this video, to elaborate everything that is happening about the transport. And I know I haven't finished like all the transports. I'll be actually making another video to finish up all the transport that I'm supposed to talk about in Tanzania, and maybe I may enlighten you on the transportation that are available for Tanzania. Apart from that, I want to say that hope you enjoy your BRT and enjoy your stay in Tanzania, because it's a good country with good people, and it's in a good continent called Africa, though every other good country is also available and other good continent are also available. So lastly but not least, finally we are at our last transport, and that is the boat, aka we call it kivukoni. Kivukoni means it's like a bridge. We call it kivukoni, so if you ever heard of that name, we call kivukoni, means it's a boat, and boat moving to one place to another. And it's not in another part of Tanzania as in moving to Zanzibar. No, it's in a part of Tanzania which is actually a little bit kind of shaped cave sea-like structure. So instead of like going around the sea curve, you just have to cross over the middle part of the sea, sea as in not a sea as a sea, but as a sea, the sea curve, right? So when you talk about kivukoni, like the boat, the first thing, the advantage is something that really surprised me. But before I tell you the advantage, I want to tell you what is happening on right here. As you can see, I'm walking. I know. Don't skip the video. Like, there's no any boats. Don't worry. I showed you, and I'm gonna show you everything about the boats. So as right here, we are actually making a line. After making a line, you only pay 200, for real, 200 shillings, 200 Tanzanian shillings. Now 200 Tanzanian shillings is equal to $0.09 US. Really? Have you ever had any transport that you would pay $0.09 US? I have never heard of that. I don't know if in other places they are available, but I think this is the most coolest transport I've ever seen. Like, it's the most cheapest of all, and it's among the fantastic transport that you'll feel something. As you can see here, just pay 200 and you get a ticket and you go inside. Like, you'll never regret using this transport, though for sure it's not always being used. That's the bad thing. It's not always. Now the other advantage is it saves time. Now, as I told you, you get through the sea curve. If you use the other buses to get through Kigamboni, the other side, it's called Kigamboni, and so if you use the buses, it will take time. There are a lot of people too, so literally you'll regret why you use that road. So if you're going to use this transportation, which is actually the boat, it's gonna be faster. By the way, I wanted to clear something right there. You see those machines, that's how it worked. Like I had to like scan it and it worked, and that's the same way we used to use in the BRT. But right now the BRTs are not working. What's wrong, Tanzanians? Why are we giving something and now it's like it's destroyed? What's happening? Who's the destroyer? We are the Tanzanians. We are destroyers, and I think we should change that. But that's not quite fair, and I'm being open right now. I don't like it that way. But the main thing is that the advantages, it saves time and it's cheap. Because if you really want to save your time and you wanna move like within the time that you actually planned, because it's actually only using 20 minutes to get over the other side, but it will use like 20 minutes also to like prepare itself from the movement. So it's like 40 minutes to get together, because it has to collect some people and at least for it to be full, then later to drop back. Now on the duration between the middle, it will be 25 or 30 minutes duration between the travel, but the parking is 10 and 10, so it's almost like 40 minutes or 50 minutes until you reach the other side, which is not a big complaint, because you pay only 200, which is equal to $0.09. It's not a complaint. So as you can see, there are a lot of people going inside like that boat. There are a lot, and actually even cars, so it can even ship cars, so that's quite a good thing. And the other thing I realized is that most of the people who are actually living in Kigamboni, they're Muslim. I'm not saying that Tanzania is a Muslim country. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm trying to say that most of the people who are living in Kigamboni, they're Muslims. I think it's because of the Zanzibar parts. Though Zanzibar and Kigamboni, they're two different places, but I think it's most of the people who are actually living at the coastal area, they are actually Muslims, and that's just happening because of history. That's history, you can't blame, and I'm not complaining too. So the disadvantages is that it takes time to leave. As I told you, it takes like 10 minutes to 15 minutes sometimes until it leaves, and literally that is really it was a really bad time, I could say somehow, because if you are really moving fast and you want to go fast somewhere, then I think staying 15 minutes just waiting for the machine or the engines to start, I don't really understand why would that happen. Now there are two places people could stay at the top and the other people would stay at the bottom. It's not a bad thing that people stay at the top, and it's not risky as if people could fall. No, it's a very secured place, and literally we have never had complaint about the sinking about this part. So if you're using this transport, you should be really happy, because it is totally safe and you won't have any complaints. Now the other disadvantage is that few number of boats, like there are only 3 if not 2 boats that are boats oh my god, this is English, boats that actually transport people from one side to the other. So literally sometimes it would really like get populated and people couldn't even fit, so they have to wait for another boat to come and fetch them, which is really bad because it doesn't really save your time anymore. It really butchers it all. I remember one of my, what should I say, I think that was my headmaster used to tell me, like, don't butcher time. Like butchering is like waste time. And that vocabulary, I'll never forget it. So literally when you come back to this video, and it's here, as you can see there, right there, it's written Kigamboni. I think you can see it. Even here down on this little thing, it's written Kigamboni, though it's not fully seen, but the other side you can see it's written Kigamboni. So the thing is that the good thing is that if you are an elder person, let me specify here, and if you are a young person, you are a child, like it doesn't matter, unless otherwise you can't walk, you're being carried, to be free for you. But literally if you are a person of that kind, you will only pay 200. It doesn't matter, not compared to other transport you have to pay. It depends on the distance and depends on who you are. If you're a child or you're a youth, if you're a child there's a different price, and if you're a baby you don't pay, and if you're an adult or a youth kinda, you have to pay the known price. So that's it. And by the way, when you're inside it, and it's also giving you a good environment, like it's attractive with the wind, you don't feel hot. I remember at that time when I was transporting myself through the sea that is using this boat, I remember it was really hot, but I never felt the hotness because it was too windy. So literally if you would have been in the bus, in the motorcycle, especially during the season of sunny time, I don't know what's the name of the season, I've forgotten already, but literally during the hot season you could literally feel the heat when you're inside the car, and because it's also populated, you will feel very hot, much hotter than even you would expect on the normal time. So I think it's quite a good experience, and I think for those people who actually have never even used the boat, I think if you use this boat, it's going to be like among the boats that you have used, so at least you made a history that you once climbed the boat. But I think for the most of the tourists that's actually going to come to Tanzania, they will be using all the transportation apart from these boats and cars and all the other transport. I think all the transports will be good for them. Now, on the conclusion, also I want to say that I'm thanking everyone who has actually watched this video until the end. I am glad that you reached here, but there's some bonus things I wanted to tell you is that this video is not containing all the transportation. I know there's some transportation I have left behind, and I know those will be telling me in the comment section. I have my friends also be telling me I haven't talked about all the transportation, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the transportation that actually are available in Tanzania, and I'll finish up the other transportation on the coming volume 2 video, because this video has been very long, and thank you if you have stayed for all this time until this minute. But the other thing I wanted to add on is these boats here, though they look old, you shouldn't be scared of them. Like, I don't know why. Now, another thing that I want to complain in this video is that I want to speak something very serious right now, because when I was in the boat, when I was traveling in this boat, I should say was I traveling? Yeah, of course I was traveling. So there's one woman who stopped me and told me that I shouldn't record, and I was using the phone on all these videos. So I was wondering, why was I stopped to record using the phone? See, this character has been taking place all over Tanzania, and like, people would get so annoyed if they see you recording, but for real, you're just using the phone and you're promoting your own country. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you prohibit me? Because I'm using my phone? I don't understand why. But anyway, even though he prohibited me, I didn't stop, because I needed to show my content and show my country, like what my country has and what people are doing. So literally, if he's also watching or she's also watching, I am sorry, but I had to continue, because this is a free country, and you can't keep it to yourself. I'm not going to stop posting my content. So I am super happy and excited, and I hope this video will be a good use to people who are actually thinking of coming to Tanzania, because in Tanzania there are a lot of things that you wish to see, and you'll meet a lot of people, and there are a lot of things that you'll face. So I hope I may be able to guide you and give you a bit of an idea of what is really happening in Tanzania. And most of the things that I'll be sharing you, they really don't really matter according to the season. So it doesn't matter the season. We don't really face this big issue season. Like, for example, if you're in another country, there'll be like cold and winters. I think those things don't happen. We have never experienced snow, so you shouldn't worry about the snow and all the things. I know most of the people actually coming to a country maybe from Europe and other sides, whereby they experience a lot of weather changing, and that could hinder their daily routine. But in Tanzania, we don't have that. And by the way, the good thing is that even though there was a hit of corona, we really never got affected that much. We thanks to our late president. At this moment I was making this video, he was already dead, but we really thank him so much for the courage, and he's the one who made us a better oh my god, my English. He's the one who made us like who we are. Like, he made us strong, he gave us courage, he gave us a lot of things. So apart from that, I want to say that Tanzania is a good place that you can visit, and you will never regret why you came to Tanzania. And I'm glad to everyone who has actually really visited Tanzania and has spread the positive vibe about Tanzania, because we are all one. It doesn't matter really you're from Tanzania or you're from another place. I think we are all human beings that should love each other, and we should not be biased about something and everything. I don't want to go off topic of this video, but generally the transportation in Tanzania has been grateful, and I hope you may share this video because it's a good video. See ya.